Previously on MDA.
The reason why I haven't given you back a signed copy of my contract is because I've been made an offer by another firm.
You're going to tell us which one?
Cato and Pittman.
Do the words gratitude or obligation mean anything to you? I'm sorry about this. Pack up. Pack up and go now.
I'm just going to go and pack my stuff before Abby chucks it out.
Congratulations. There we go. Welcome to Cato and Pittman.
So, can I see my new office?
I can think of about 100 questions already.
I could probably answer about 10 of them.
Good, we'll sit down.
Does this mean I'm staying?
Can you?
Yep.
So, any other changes I don't know about?
We only found out ourselves this Friday just gone, so...
I'll help you with this.
No, it's fine. I don't.
Let's take this off.
No, really, no, stop fussing, please. Sorry.
Okay.
Can we just get on with it? Is that all right?
Maybe you need more time.
No, I don't. I don't need more time. I don't. I want to come back. I want to work. I'm sorry. I just want to...
Hi.
Hi, how you going?
Good. You're getting better on those things.
What doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
There are a couple of phone messages for you. I think Happy wants you to do a cost estimate. It's on your desk.
Great.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi.
Oh, I think Happy wants a cost estimate ASAP. It's on
It's
your...
on my desk, yes. Thank you, I've heard. Serious coffee drinker.
Yeah, only I'm starting to feel like the girlfriend who's brought a toothbrush over too soon.
Medical Defence Australia, Layla speaking.
No, I'm sorry, he's out of the office at the moment. Can I take a message? Sure, I'll pass that on, Dr. Zamet. Okay, bye.
Layla, did you put this in?
Yes,
Does it come out nationally?
usually, yeah.
When Caitlin left, Happy asked if I could stay, and I said yes. Now I see what he meant. Could I stay for the rest of the week?
Oh, Amanda, I'm sorry. I thought Happy would have explained. I know he expects you to apply.
Did he say that?
No,
Has he said anything about my work here?
no. I mean, he's given the impression that he's okay with everything.
Okay with everything? Talk about being damned with faint praise.
Maybe you should take this up with him.
Very disciplined for 8 in the morning.
I'm just reading over some past cases. Thought I'd better soak up the Cato and Pittman approach.
That's good.
Well, actually, I'd prefer to be seeing some clients.
Okay, so you're telling me that I don't trust you running your own case, is that it?
You tell me.
Wayne Bradley. Now, this guy called up yesterday, wrote off his car, says his doctor wrote off his back.
I'll check it out.
The guy says he's home all day.
You want me to go to his house?
Well, he says he can hardly walk, so yeah.
No, I mean, it's fine by me if it's fine by you.
Medical Defence Australia invites applications for a full-time legal case manager.
I'm impressed you can read.
What do you think I've been doing here the last few weeks? Watering the plants?
As I told you, Amanda, I'm required to advertise all permanent positions before making a recommendation to the board.
So you're really not just going to give it to me?
Standard business practice. I'm afraid my hands are tied.
I'm sure they are.
Ready and willing to receive your formal application should you deign to apply.
Okay. Just one other thing. What's the attractive salary package?
An unashamed lie.
I remember the words exactly because I was so relieved to hear them. You don't want anything wrong with you in that area, you know, and he said everything looks very healthy.
But you knew you had to wait on the test results for confirmation, yeah?
Well, I didn't hear anything, so I thought everything must be clear.
And Dr. Thorne didn't call you?
No. But after a week, I knew there was definitely something wrong. I found this...
It's okay, honey.
It's not okay at all, Joel. Would you just... I had a discharge. It was greeny coloured and it was uncomfortable going to the toilet.
Uncomfortable or painful?
Painful. And I didn't want to phone the clinic while my daughter was around, so I waited till the next day when she was back at school.
And that's when Dr. Thorne... that's when he told you what it was?
No, he wasn't there, was he? And the nurse said she didn't know anything. Finally, I made her put me through to Dr. Thorne's machine and I left him a message. I think I yelled.
He called you back?
Yeah, the same day. He said he'd only just got my test results back, which is ridiculous. He'd taken them 10 days before and then he said I had a bacterial infection and to come in and pick up some antibiotics from the front desk.
So he didn't organise to see you himself?
Too busy, apparently.
And he didn't specify gonorrhoea?
No, but he knew that's what it was. That's what the antibiotics were for. And then he didn't even get the dose right.
How do you know that?
Well, I told a friend and she said I shouldn't muck around. I should just go to a sexual health clinic. Never even thought I'd have to walk through a door to a place like that. But at least they were upfront about it, told me exactly what I had, and the nurse there was the one who said my doctor had got the dose wrong. The man is either just hopeless, which is bad enough, or he's another liar, just like him.
Hi.
Hi. You're the lawyer? Yeah. No, Wayne's over here. Excuse the mess. It's all Wayne's junk. He leaves his stuff everywhere. Gotta get the shit so the bugger can pick up anything anymore.
Wayne, hi, I'm Caitlin King from Cato and Pittman.
Oh, mind if I don't get up?
No, you're right.
Just shove all that. It doesn't matter where.
Okay.
Al, can you...
No, yep, it's okay. Thank you.
Sorry about the mess. I can't do much tidying, you know.
It's okay.
Well, you can go now.
How long have you lived here?
Since the accident. Got behind on the rent at my place, you know. Couldn't keep the rent up without a job.
The accident, I don't have too many details, I'm sorry.
Ran my Tirana into a tree, totaled it. You know, which I was pretty happy about. I just put a cracker V8 in the thing. Wasn't drunk, wasn't even speeding.
It's her husband she wants to be suing, you know, not me. He's the one who lied and cheated and gave her gonorrhea.
She hasn't lodged a claim against you yet, Dr. Thorne.
Oh, well, she's seeing her solicitor. What else happens next?
Happy,
Yes, my sweet.
if you thought you'd been doing an okay job as a case manager and then found out you might be being replaced, would you feel a bit weird?
It can't have come as any great shock.
You might have let her know we have to advertise. Imagine how she feels now, walking around here the whole time knowing you've got your eye out for someone better.
Nancy's been doing that to me for 20 years.
Now, the radiologist report, Dr. Vernon was the radiologist. There's no evidence of you having sustained any serious injury.
Well, I didn't speak to the radiologist. My GP read the report. Told me I'd be all right, back to normal in a week or two. Gave me a neck brace to wear for a couple of days, some anti-inflammatories for my back. Sent me home.
And there was no improvement?
Well, he's talking out of his arse. A month later, it's still killing me, right? I can't bend, I can't twist. I'm getting headaches all the time. You know, I never get headaches.
What kind of work did you do, Wayne?
Labouring. In my brother's nursery. So it's like loading plants onto trucks every other day. And then there's pruning, planting, moving stuff around, putting up displays. I can't even get there anymore, you know? I can't make the drive.
Did you ever see another doctor? Get a second opinion?
Well, the doctor said, you know, you'll be in pain for a while, so I just put up with it.
Now, Wayne, you said on the phone that someone from the Prince Edward emergency called you about 3 months later and said there'd been some kind of mistake.
Said the radiologist had missed something. Turns out he didn't notice I had a fracture. And now that it's mended, they can't do anything. Oh, sorry, it just kills me to bend it.
It's okay.
No, Angela just called and told me that Joel had called her from Kuala Lumpur. He's there, regularly on business, and that he'd said he'd picked up some sort of fungal infection of the genitals.
And she bought that?
Oh, Angela Brennan's a very decent woman. She trusts her husband implicitly. Or at least, she did.
And she's been your patient for some time?
Well, she and Joel were seeing Dr. Mifsad ever since he started the centre. But when he became too busy to keep treating them both, Angela began seeing me.
Now, I'm assuming you took vaginal, cervical swabs for lab examination?
Well, I examined her first, but when I observed no abnormality of the genital area, I took swabs, yes, which ultimately identified the presence of gonorrhea.
And you informed her of this?
Yes.
Immediately?
Well, there was an unfortunate delay in my receiving the test results, so therefore a delay in my passing them on to Angela. It's just an administrative error. Some unknown member of staff opened them and forgot to tell me about it. It shouldn't happen, of course, but it does from time to time.
That you were expecting her results? I mean, besides anything else, you would have had to have considered her potentially contagious.
Well, I have so many patients. Of course, I do try to keep track of all of their details, but the reality is things do slip my mind.
For how long?
Little over 10 days, I believe.
Then the most your patient could claim would be failure to inform her of her condition for those 10 days. The question is, medically speaking, would 10 days make a difference?
Yeah, it would.
Well, it was actually somewhat longer than that before Angela knew the full nature of her condition, but 10 days was when I started her on antibiotic treatment.
Wait a minute. You began treating this woman, but you failed to inform her she had a sexually transmittable disease.
Well, hearing news like that can have a devastating effect on people's lives. It's not appropriate to give that sort of information over the phone.
Right, so you obviously arranged an appointment.
Well, as it turned out, Angela received confirmation of her condition soon after from a nurse at the sexual health clinic.
Can we just clear this up? You're saying that you never actually confirmed Mrs. Brennan had gonorrhea?
No, I did. After she'd been to the clinic, Angela called and we talked, and I gave her full information regarding her condition.
Over the phone? Although you've just said earlier that a face-to-face appointment is far more appropriate for this kind of thing.
It was just the way it worked out. She asked me whether it was likely that she'd contracted it from her husband.
You mean if he had had sex elsewhere?
And I said yes. Though, possibly, he may have caught it from a toilet seat.
Toilet seat. Well, his strongest argument is that you can catch gonorrhea off a toilet seat.
Strange place to be having sex.
Either that, or he truly believes it's possible.
Well, it is. Theoretically.
How likely is it?
Not likely.
1 chance in 100 billion.
If that.
But hear me out. If an infected penis somehow brushed up against a toilet seat and left behind infected discharge, and then the husband's penis was somehow exposed to it.
That's disgusting. But we can at least use the argument.
Oh, please. That husband had more chance of being abducted by aliens than catching gonorrhea off a toilet seat. Whereas the wife could develop pelvic inflammatory disease after just one serious case of untreated gonorrhea, which can in turn lead to infertility.
But shouldn't we try to defend it however we can?
Careful, you'll get accused of being a lawyer next.
How'd you go with your house call?
Yeah, good.
Yeah?
I've just had Bradley's medical records faxed over. And I've spoken to his orthopaedic surgeon. She said she never saw the x-rays at the time, but the radiologist seriously messed up.
Okay. How did the client come across?
He's not the classiest guy, but he's got a valid claim. And even the radiologist admits he made a bad call. Even if he didn't, the x-rays prove it.
Sure. Conclusively?
Well, they've admitted it. They sent a patient home with a missed bone fracture. It fused, and now the guy's stuck with a non-functioning neck. The case is worth pursuing.
Yeah. The reason I actually came in was to ask you a question about a case.
Oh.
Can I?
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Look, I'm drafting up a statement of claim alleging a GP failed to appropriately treat his patient for gonorrhea.
And did he?
Well, yes. I mean, he got rid of the disease, but gave her antibiotics over I think it was a 2-week period when the sexual health clinic guidelines recommend a higher dose given as a one-off straight away. Treatment
guidelines are always contradictory. I came across it all the time when I was nursing.
But one's got to be better, surely.
Not necessarily. MDA would say that sexual health clinics see a completely different type of patient to those presenting in a private practice. More likely to be unknown to the doctor, more likely to be itinerant.
Which gives them what?
Well, doctors in sexual health clinics have to make their diagnosis on the spot. They can't do lab tests because they may never see their patient again.
So they give them a heavy one-off dose, yeah?
It'll blow the infection to bits in one hit.
Oh, well.
Sorry. Better to find out now, though, than in court.
All right, doesn't mean I shouldn't let MDA in it. Thank you.
Yeah, Richard?
Yeah?
The Bradley case.
Bradley case.
Yeah, I think we should pursue it.
Okay. Give me a call if things start getting tricky.
Can't get enough of the place, can you?
Well, you couldn't talk.
No, I do not deny my deep dedication to the job, but I certainly wouldn't be working back on a case that's not even a case yet. Katie's at the town hall piano competition.
Why aren't you watching her?
She says I put her off. I think she's right, I put myself off. So it was either sit in the car or come in here. What more have you found out on our toilet seat, Doctor?
Well, he's been seeing Angela Brennan for about a year. She used to see another doctor at that same clinic. Husband goes there too. They have an 11-year-old daughter.
Not sure what that all gives you.
Yeah, but why would a GP go out of his way to make sure that a patient didn't know that she had gonorrhea?
The only reason I can think of is if he was attempting to hide evidence that the husband had had the odd unsavoury dalliance. But then why would a GP put his career on the line just to help someone cheat on his wife? Unless he had a valid reason, of course.
Oh, come on. A valid reason?
And what I'm thinking is that he may have been concerned about the survival of his patient's marriage.
Yeah, but this is her medical information that we're talking about.
Yeah, no, all I'm saying is that maybe he didn't want the blood of her failed marriage on his hands.
He abused Angela Brennan's trust, all right? I don't know why you're defending him.
Actually, I'm just dropping off my application for the job, actually.
Oh, I only put it on the website yesterday.
Oh, I always take a browse on the MDA site. Actually, it's on my favourites list, right after Cato and Pittman.
You could have just emailed in your application.
Oh, I didn't want the formatting to go all wonky, you know, and I was thinking Bill Henderson might prefer a more old-fashioned approach.
Yeah, probably would.
When will he be in?
He's here already, had an early appointment, but he's probably still with a member.
Oh, busy.
I can let him know that you came in personally.
All right, thank you. So, how do you feel about Caitlin joining forces with Richard Savage? Must be all terrified she's given away all your secrets. You know, the best way to even things up is to give a plaintiff lawyer the job at MDA. I can think of one already.
I'm all for men being bastards, but wouldn't it be easier just to take Thorne at his word? What, and risk being hit with something unexpected at mediation? Well, that's if we get there. There's still no writ. Angela Brennan's files were transferred to another doctor this morning. Who else but a lawyer would have done that? Well, even if it does become a case, I don't think we'll have too much trouble. You know, I looked up those effects of untreated gonorrhea you mentioned yesterday, and I'm not sure they can be used as an argument against us. Angela's condition was only untreated for 10 days, right? So the worst symptoms she could have experienced during that time were the discharge, which she got, some pain when going to the toilet, and a little bit of bleeding when having sex.
But pelvic inflammatory disease and the infertility were more advanced symptoms, and Angela was hardly at risk of those.
The only reason that Dr. Thorne confirmed she had gonorrhea was because she kept calling him. There are something like 15 calls recorded in her file.
So, at a big stretch, advanced symptoms were a possibility. Ever thought of becoming a plaintiff lawyer, Anna?
We don't have a very convincing client, Amanda, and that worries me. I don't think he's telling the truth.
Well, not everyone who lies means to be a liar. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes people just feel backed into corners. Sometimes people just choose concealment for all the right reasons, subjectively speaking, but that can be tantamount to a lie. I've lied, and I didn't mean to. To my husband. Ex-husband.
Oh.
But that was concealment, and then just became a lie. For no good reason. I had an affair.
I didn't know you were married.
Have you ever been married?
No. Oh, I lived with someone for years, but...
And what, didn't work out?
He lied.
Jamieson. The odontoid process.
It's a small vertical bone connecting the top first vertebra of the spinal column closest to the brain to the second vertebra, the axis.
So it is important then.
It's the bone that your skull pivots on. It's the one that wrecks the spinal cord when a person is hanged, as a matter of fact.
I knew it couldn't be trusted. Interview room, please. Dr. Robert Vernon, this is Dr. Jamie Lawless, one of our medical case managers. Excuse his paraphernalia, he's been on the wall.
Yeah.
Hi.
I would say pleased to meet you, but I'm hardly pleased I'm being sued.
Dr. Vernon is a radiologist at the Prince Edward. Last year he reported on the x-rays of a patient who we now know had fractured his odontoid process, which is a fairly crucial part of the spinal column. However, he only identified this during a routine audit of the x-rays 3 months later.
One of our quality control procedures.
Right, so you're saying that there was a 3-month delay in diagnosis?
Well, odontoid pig fractures are notoriously difficult to detect. It's not like picking out the bruised apple at the fruit shop.
Yeah, look, I'm sure that's the case.
Well, these things can be impossible to see. Muscle across the base of the pig can look like a fracture when it isn't.
Yes, but in this case it was
actually
a fracture.
was, yes. My mistake. Which is why I did the right thing. Made a call to the orthopaedic surgeon, told her to let the patient know straight away. And now I get this.
Right. Dr. Vernon, if the patient was walking around for 3 months with a missed fracture, the bone probably fused in the wrong position.
It did. But still, the level of the claim, the level of the injury seems highly disproportionate.
All right then, well, if we do have to settle, how much is it going to cost us to repair the damage caused by Dr. Vernon?
You can't.
What do you mean you can't?
Well, the bone is fused in the wrong position and it has to stay that way.
Yeah, but you doctors break bones all over the place and then put them back together again.
Well, this bone has got the spinal cord running right through the middle of it. It's not one to mess with. You try again, you'll probably have quadriplegic.
Terrific.
No, we're looking at paying this guy out for the rest of his life. Loss of income, loss of ability to work.
So we're just going to be looking at well over $1 million on this one.
Well, you're the lawyer. You should be able to read the fine print. Caitlin is running this one.
What? OK, well, we need to have this Bradley fellow examined independently. Jamieson, I'm not going to be going easy on this case simply because Caitlin's the opposition.
No, quite the contrary. All right, I'll make an appointment and I'll call Caitlin with the time.
Look, I'm quite capable of that.
You want to make the appointment?
No, you do that. I'll just talk it over with Caitlin.
Talk it over? We don't do that with plaintiff lawyers. We just tell them when it is over the phone.
Yeah, I just want to talk it over. No need to hover. I'm not going to say anything. Hello, yes, Bill Henderson. Could I speak to that slimy career-climbing leech of a... Hello, Bill Henderson from MDA. Could I speak to Caitlin King, please? Yes, client Bradley. Thank you.
Nearly got yourself whacked with one of these.
Hi. Come in.
How are you?
Good. Thanks.
Plush.
Sit down. So, you wanted to talk about the Bradley case?
Yes. Oh. Comfy, the chairs. Yes, your client, Mr. Bradley, is claiming certain injuries which we would like to have independently confirmed.
Of course. Who have you decided on?
I've always respected the opinion of Dr. Drury.
That's because he trips over himself to please MDA. What time's the appointment?
Are they suede? The chairs? They are, aren't they? I think they're suede.
Are you here for any other reason, Bill, or did you just come to check out my chairs?
No. I do like that.
The appointment is at 3 o'clock. They're the details.
Is there anything else? Tour of the building, perhaps, Bill?
What? Oh, sorry. Sorry, Caitlin. Yeah. We're probably keeping you from lunch with your new boss. Is that what you call him?
No.
Boss?
I really hope it's not like this every time we pose each other happy.
Can't guarantee anything. Anyway, we've got to be off. Farewell, Caitlin. Enjoy your new office accoutrements. Jamison?
I'll catch up.
He's not holding a grudge or anything, is he?
Yeah, well, it was a bit of a shock when you left, Caitlin. And not just a happy.
Look, I was going to tell you, but he kicked me out before I had a chance.
You could have called me.
Maybe.
So, what's it like over here on the dark side?
Medical report from Dr. Max Drury.
Oh, thanks for that. Jamison?
And
Okay.
Nancy called.
What?
Apparently you're not a very supportive father.
You've been gossiping at my expense, have you?
No, she just said you didn't watch Katie play in a piano competition last night.
Katie was the one that didn't want me there.
Yeah, that might be what she said, but it's probably not what she meant.
Be very careful, Layla. Cultivated in the right way, you could become as illogical as a female. And I am a supportive father. I drove her to the competition, I drove her home from the competition, I paid for her piano lessons, I paid her entrance fee, I bought the bloody piano, for God's sake.
Did you ask her how she went in the competition?
We like listening to the radio in the car, both of us. It's a tradition. Have a look what our friend Dr. Drury says.
Confirms malalignment.
And injuries overstated.
He says there may be.
Yep, read on, McDuff.
Inappropriate motor vehicle.
Yeah, that's the one that I like. Max, Bill Henderson. Yeah, we have. We've just received it. Thank you. One query, inappropriate motor vehicle. I see. Okay, good. Thank you. Bye-bye. I want to hire a private investigator.
Straight to pathology.
Thank you, Chris.
Hello, can I help you?
I'm Dr. Ella Davis, and this is Amanda Mackay. We're from MDA. Here to see Dr. Greg Thorne. It's regarding a matter concerning one of his patients.
Mrs. Brennan, I know.
You're in no way implicated, of course.
I didn't think I was. All she wanted was her results and no one would tell her.
It's okay.
Best to talk to Dr. Thorne.
Sure.
It arrived this morning.
This appears pretty much as we expected. Failure to inform retest results, providing misleading information.
That'll be the toilet seat explanation.
What's this? Failure to adequately treat.
Yes, no, I didn't understand that either. I followed recommended treatment.
Apparently it didn't correspond with sexual health clinic guidelines. That's got to be a try-on, doesn't it?
No, I won't stand up. The treatment was effective, and actually probably more appropriate because it took into account the path results. But I'm not so sure about some of these other points, though.
But I explained to you about the test results. I mean, that was out of my control. I had no idea the results had been received and filed.
We might have a problem with vicarious responsibility with that.
I'm to be held accountable for some administrative stuff-up.
If it's a systems failure with your own surgery, yes.
Dr. Thorne, you're accountable to all of your patients. You knew if Angela Brennan was infected, immediate treatment was imperative. You should have made arrangements for the results to be checked the moment.
But
they
somebody
arrived.
else opened them.
All right, who?
I don't know.
Well, surely staff are required to initial any reports or letters they open.
Yes, of course they are, but mistakes happen, and once the results have been opened, the computer transfers them automatically into the patient's electronic file.
All right, so someone transferred the path results into the patient's file. Who else would have some kind of an interest in Angela Brennan's gonorrhea results? Who's her husband's doctor? Thanks for taking time to see us, Dr. Mifsud. We just need to ask a few questions.
Yes, I opened Angela Brennan's results.
Oh.
I believe I had a professional responsibility to do so. It's general medical procedure for an interested professional colleague to be informed of test results which affect one of his patients.
Although Angela Brennan wasn't your patient.
I don't need to tell you that doctors owe a duty to the partners of their patients, Dr. Davis, when they're dealing with a sexually transmittable disease.
Yes, but what you did disregarded her right to be informed of her condition, and you failed to even mention her results to Dr. Thorne. Is that true?
I'm a very good doctor, Dr. Davis, but I fear a less impressive secretary.
Maybe I shouldn't ask. But is there a reason why we are harassing our client? And now some other doctor who's not even facing a claim?
Angela Brennan's confidentiality was abused. And do you know what I think? I think it was to give her husband time for damage control.
We don't know that. And more importantly, it's not on the writ.
You off to A&E already?
Yes, I am.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye, dear.
So, Amanda, what's going on? Look, yelling, screaming, I can handle without a problem. The silent treatment makes me feel a little uneasy. Talk to me, please.
I must just have it backwards, that's all. I thought we were here to defend doctors, but apparently I'm supposed to be trying to incriminate them. Ella found out this other doctor's probably got something to do with the Thorne case. It does absolutely zero to help us, but she just wouldn't let it go.
Look, you've got to remember that Ella is first and foremost a doctor, and she realises that no one benefits by letting a bad doctor get away with it.
We're the ones who are going to have to pay the damages for a claim that doesn't exist until we bring it to the table. I've got a social conscience just like anyone else, and yeah, if this doctor belonged to some other MDO, I'd be the first one joining him on the writ. But he's one of ours, and Ella just wouldn't drop it.
I understand how you feel. But Ella has been here for 8 years, and I've got to say, she has a fair idea of what she's doing.
Amanda Mackay, this is a message to you to stop, I repeat, stop sabotaging your own career. You do not want to go back to Adelaide. You do not want to be a complete fuck-up. You do not have to say every bloody thing you think.
Sorry, do you want to finish? Do you want to finish?
They can wait.
Jamie's girlfriend's working late. We were going to go get a drink. Do you want to come?
That'd be great.
Okay.
You right?
Yep. I hate these stupid things.
You won't have them for much longer.
Yeah. Everything will be back to normal.
Probably won't ever feel completely normal, Jamie. You've lost a friend.
I'm all right, really.
No, just death's a part of life, and you've seen that more than anyone. You're a doctor. But if you try and think about it as Tony going to a better place.
You know what my dad told me when I was a kid, Layla, when I asked him about death? He said that we just stop. you know, that's it. We finish. We don't go anywhere. We don't meet anyone. We're not saved. We don't become peace-loving spiritual beings. We just become food for worms. So, what's the point?
Well, if you see it as the end, there probably isn't a lot of point. We see the soul as being on an eternal journey that starts at conception, so when we die, we just move on to the next stage.
And what is that?
I don't know, but just because I can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Rightio.
Thank you.
Diet Coke. You really don't drink?
No.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
So, your interview must be coming up soon.
Yeah. I'd love to know who I'm up against.
I wasn't sure what sort of references you'd prefer. I was assuming you'd want professional ones from people I'd worked for.
That's a good guess.
But I also thought you might want some personal references so you can see what sort of person I really am.
I think I'm getting a fair idea, Helena. You do realise that this is a preliminary interview, don't you? I mean, although I will be making recommendations, of course, ultimately the board will be approving the successful appointee.
Can I just say that I think it's really important what you and the board do here, and I'm getting a strong feeling that I belong.
I'm glad to hear that. Okay. How do you think you would handle the confrontational aspect of this work?
Well, as you know, I deal with confrontation every day. It's part of the job. But it would be foolish to say that I enjoy every aspect of the confrontation, wouldn't it? I seek at all times to engage my opponents in constructive argument. I keep my clients' needs uppermost in my mind, so that any confrontation that is embarked in the course of serving my client's needs is less likely to descend into a bun fight and more likely to produce a positive outcome.
Good. Good.
Oh, any time's all right.
Good. Thanks for coming in.
Adam Delaney?
Good. Mr. Delaney, Bill Henderson, come through.
Who's that?
Adam Delaney. He's from Sydney. Do you want to have a look at his CV?
Can I?
Probably not, but if I just left it there and you saw
Excuse
it...
me.
Leila.
Package for you. Can you just sign there? Thanks.
God.
What?
I might as well pack up my desk now.
I wouldn't worry about it. Abby hates flashy presentation anyway.
Okay, we'd better get laid.
Jamie, from the private investigator at Smart Confidential. So.
Sorry to interrupt. I thought you might like the pleasure of opening these.
Excuse me 1 minute. Thank you, Jonathan. Oh, yeah. Yeah, very nice. Very, 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 very nice.
It's pretty conclusive.
Yes, Caitlin King, please, Bill Henderson. I rather like that one. Caitlin, yes, Bill. I've been looking at the independent medical report and... Yes, no, I understand you would have too, so you wouldn't be surprised that I'm thinking of reassessing MDA's position on this one. Yes, I think a quick chat, without prejudice, of course. Yeah, we might be able to negotiate something. Sooner the better. Good. Okay, see you then.
Happy. The case is ours with these. You don't have to rub her nose in it.
Jamison, I've just saved us $1 million. I think I can be trusted on this one.
Glad you called, actually. I had a few thoughts after reading that report as well.
Same.
I'll be adding a claim for disabled driver fittings to Wayne Bradley's vehicle.
I suspected as much.
You said you'd reassess your position?
That's right.
And?
Well, I'm no longer sure that this case should be pushed to mediation, basically.
What's your offer?
How do you know that I'm here to make an offer?
If you're going to be pedantic about it, I'll wait till mediation.
To your knowledge, has your client, Mr. Bradley, worked since suffering these horrific injuries after the accident?
He can't.
He hasn't left the house?
Not without assistance.
Possibly he may have struggled out to the garage, though.
What are you getting at?
You never know when some slippery little opportunist is out to get the better of you, do you?
I'm starting to learn, Happy. You're a very good teacher.
Believe me, Caitlin, if I had wanted to humiliate you, I would have done it in court. Okay? I am simply here to remind you that you have an awful lot to learn.
I've got an awful lot of time. What about you?
How can you deny that my client received a negligent standard of care? She was entitled to a diagnosis, the appropriate treatment, the moment those results were made available at Dr. Thorne's surgery. Now, she was entitled to this as a right, without asking questions.
Mrs. Brennan received diagnosis and an appropriate treatment.
Yes, 10 days after she'd asked for
It was just a mix-up on the computer, Angela. The system's been upgraded now so that I'm...
Blaming the bloody computer. You only told me I had it in the end because I'd already found out from the clinic.
If my client hadn't uncovered for herself the true nature of her condition, she may never have been informed of the result.
And how do you expect to prove that,
Amanda,
Richard?
Angela received accurate information from the sexual health clinic, which should have been provided by Dr. Thorne.
This was the first case of gonorrhea that I'd had to deal with in 7 years.
Well,
Dr. Thorne.
Doctors have a duty to patients suffering venereal disease to direct their attention to the infectious nature of that disease, give them written information which they can then take home that explains their condition and treatment. I am sorry, Dr. Thorne, but you did none of that.
The medical centre supplies patients with written information on chlamydia and other more common STDs.
Yes, we do.
And since gonorrhea is a condition seen so infrequently in general practice these days, Richard, written information is not often directly available.
What? It's directly available at the sexual health clinic.
Well, as their name implies, that's all they deal with, sexual health issues.
Well then, Luella, I am surprised they hadn't heard you can catch gonorrhea from a toilet seat.
The claim that Dr. Thorne misled Mrs. Brennan on that issue is
not conceded.
I don't believe this.
If an infected penis brushed up against a toilet seat, left infected discharge, and Mr. Brennan's penis was somehow exposed to it...
Okay, Amanda, no, wait a second. Let me assure you, it is a very careless man indeed that lets his penis come into contact with another person's urine on a toilet seat.
It's still theoretically possible.
Do you know what happened because you told me that piece of nonsense? My daughter heard me on the phone to the clinic. She heard me ask if I had an STD. She heard me ask if I could have got it from her dad.
Angela, I wasn't
Do you know what
trying
that's done to her? I only had to face the fact that I had a cheat for a husband. But Jackie won't stay in the same room as him anymore. She hates her own father. This would never have happened if I'd stayed with Dr. Mifsud. I tell you now.
Mifsud. And she thinks he's this fantastic bloody man.
If Richard's got the wrong target, for God's sake, Greg, tell him. Don't take the entire blame for something you didn't even do yourself.
Joel Brennan and Bernard Mifsud are friends. Old friends for more than 20 years. Joel was diagnosed with gonorrhea on a business trip overseas and he didn't want to get caught out. He knew what it would do to his marriage.
So he called Mifsud.
He said Joel was receiving treatment overseas and he was following up on the contact tracing himself, so if we could just treat Angela's infection quietly, Joel would have a chance to be clean when he came home.
And Angela Brennan would never know she even had gonorrhea.
That's what they hoped. All I could do was just treat her. Just treat her the best way I could.
No, not by leaving it 10 days. You didn't.
Treatment includes information, Dr. Thorne.
What was I supposed to do? Breach Joel Brennan's confidentiality? Would I be in any less trouble now?
No, because now what you've done is unethical. How do you know that Angela Brennan didn't have any other sexual partners herself? How do you know that she didn't transfer the disease to someone else or even reinfect her husband?
That'd be karma.
I was given an instruction by my boss.
And you didn't dispute it.
Where are you going, Dr. Thorne?
I don't need this. Just give her the money.
Wait, you don't think this woman has a right to know?
Oh, tell her the truth? Believe me, I would love to, but I'd prefer to have a job to go to in the morning. So, thank you, but I'd rather not.
Ella, we have to go back in there. We have to settle this now.
Or we don't. We say no to settlement, Richard pushes it through to court, and the whole thing comes out there.
Ella, we cannot do that. This guy's our client. Your plotting is done for.
So wrong.
Look, I know I'm the new kid on the block. And I'm sure I'm making bad moves left, right and centre, disagreeing with you being the mother of them. But I did actually catch a few ethics lectures at law school.
It'll be okay.
Options we could take if things were necessary. Okay.
30,000.
30.
That's more than we're asking.
Well, that's a rather strange move. You care to let me in?
Sure. MDA's original offer failed to account for any emotional trauma suffered by Mrs. Brennan. And this offer does take it into account. Do you accept?
Yes, we accept.
Should have asked for more.
Don't think you're getting any of it.
Luella?
Do you want me to wait? It's okay. See that. Bye, Richard.
Thanks, Amanda. Obviously, I should have been a fly on the wall in that anteroom. How much more was there to this case that I didn't know about? Come on.
Why is it that you always presume there has to be something more?
Why did you give Joel Brennan that look at mediation?
What look?
What look? That look? Come on. It's settled, come on.
It's not important.
For a while there, I had the distinct feeling that you were on my side. No, sometimes I wonder whether you're actually in the right place.
Sometimes I'm not.
Well, it's nice to have you back in the ring.
The board shouldn't take too long to approve someone, so we'll let you know.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Was she any good?
Impressive list of referees, and she's done a bit of med-neg in Brisbane.
Well, Helena has couriered another set of references.
Bit keen?
Yeah, so keen she stuck a muffin voucher to it.
Doesn't that technically amount to a bribe?
She might get this job, yeah.
Hi.
Hi, you're the last on my list of interviews.
What, now?
No time like the present.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Okay, so now we come to weaknesses.
Oh, really? Do we have to? It's the end of the day. You've picked a great time for an interview.
I would prefer to talk about your weaknesses, Amanda, not mine.
All right. Well, that's an example. I'm honest.
I would consider that a strength.
Oh, well, let me finish. To the point of indelicacy. Not all the time, just when I'm tired.
Okay, I'll bear that in mind. Is that it?
No, I'm just warming up. I'm impulsive occasionally. I don't like protocol, although I'm aware that the law is top-heavy with it, and I can stick to it when I have to, but I can't pretend I enjoy it. I'm untidy, although in my defence, I do know where everything is on my desk. It's just that nobody else does. Oh, and I appear to be a failure at relationships.
Yeah, I don't think there's any need to go into the personal side of things.
Well, it's just an example of my impulsiveness. I just threw it in. I realise these are not particularly impressive traits, but you did ask. I'd also like to add that this is probably the worst interview I've ever given for anything in my life, and if you just gave me the chance to do it again tomorrow, I'd probably do a much better job.
I understand you must be extremely tired. How did you go today at mediation?
Well, like I said, we settled. 30,000. I'm not particularly thrilled about it.
Why not?
Mrs. Brennan deserved more, which Ella wanted to go for. I challenged her. And in the end, I had to defend the doctor. The thing is, and it took me ages to figure this out, I realised that Ella was actually functioning on a completely different agenda to mine. But she made a point.
Caitlin, you made a mistake. You know, you just learn from it. Learn to, I don't know, select your clients as much as they select you and move on.
I just can't believe I got sucked in by a dickhead like Wayne Bradley.
Well, you looked at the medicine and not at the guy. I mean, it happens. It happened to me. My Wayne Bradley was this guy called Scott Latimer, right? Only I found out he was a dickhead in court. But they're about the only two differences.
Yeah, well, Happy's not gonna let me forget this one.
Oh, come on. Without Bill's grudges, what has he got? Yeah?
Maybe he's got a right to this one.
Got any more of those glasses stashed away? Anyway?
Probably.
Then I will probably be helping you finish that bottle of wine.
You haven't said how your interviews went.
Well, you haven't said what you think of Amanda. I got the distinct impression from her that you two may have locked horns at mediation.
Oh.
Ella, I'm not going to hire someone that you don't approve of, so what do you think?
Well, she held a conviction today, even though it meant disagreeing with a senior case manager, which I should think potentially jeopardises anyone's chance of getting a job here at MDA.
And did it? Jeopardise her chances?
On the contrary, I would have thought. Although Layla said Adam Delaney had a very impressive CV.
I could never trust a man with personalised stationery.